Hello, and welcome to the third webinar in the 2020 Virtual Summer Learning Series for secondary mathematics educators from the Indiana Department of Education. My name is Robin Conti, and I am the Assistant Director of Teaching and Learning at IDOE. This slide deck is available for you on the Mathematics Standards page at doe.in.gov/standards/mathematics under Professional Learning. Sixth grade teachers can benefit from both elementary and secondary, depending on how your district is set up at the middle level. Today, we will explore an instructional routine introduced to support sense-making about data using slow reveal graphs. Throughout the virtual summer series, we have two purposes. First, we want to explore high-quality math resources that are aligned to the Indiana academic standards to aid in improving teaching and learning of mathematics for all students. What is important to note here is that high quality does not equal complex. Our goal is to explore resources and routines that do not require a heavy lift for educators to implement. Second, we hope that you will discover for the first time or learn ways to refine your current understanding of ways to integrate the specific resource into your instructional routines, both virtually and in person. We've collaborated with our digital learning specialists to help navigate remote learning and virtual opportunities. Slow reveal graphs are data displays that have been initially stripped of all labels and information, leaving only bars, lines, circles, or pictures, depending on your graph selection. You may have heard of numberless graphs in the past. Slow reveal graphs are an updated and, in my opinion, enhancement of those. Slow reveal graphs are an instructional routine that promotes collaborative thinking amongst your students. Students are given multiple opportunities to notice and wonder throughout the reveal and to discuss their thinking, helping students to strengthen their communication and collaboration skills with their peers. Allowing students to discuss their thinking with each other supports their ability to critique the reasoning of others and to refine and revise their own thinking. Instructional routines are important for teachers to establish with their students. They help build consistency and a level of predictability that students often crave. When students are familiar with an instructional routine, they are able to focus on their thinking and not on the next step of the process or on figuring out what question they are supposed to be answering. Instructional routines also benefit the teacher. Establishing instructional routines enables teachers to focus on their questioning and allows them to focus on student understanding. They allow teachers to listen to student thinking and not for the right answer. There is a great 5-minute video in the notes section by Max Ray Reich in which he convinces the audience that 2 is in fact greater than 4. Be sure to watch it. Slow reveal graphs is an experience with data that fosters anticipation, ambiguity, and excitement among students of all ages. You are able to withhold and release information at an appropriate pace to generate curiosity and engagement among your students. Like our other webinars, we believe that to truly understand the benefits of a resource or routine, you need to engage in it. We will explore one of my favorite introductory slow reveal graphs now. If using the slow reveal graph as a warm-up in the classroom, display the first slide before students enter the room. This gives students the opportunity to become curious. As students become familiar with the routine of slow reveal graphs, you may notice their excitement and curiosity increase because they can anticipate the process and can focus on their thinking. When students are ready, ask, "What do you notice?" or "What do you wonder?" Allow students to share ideas with a partner, small group, or large group. Students may notice there are 8 circles. They may notice the blue part is getting bigger, or the yellow part is getting smaller. They may notice that the inner black circle is not changing. Students may wonder what the circles represent. They may wonder why some students see the yellow getting smaller while the others see the blue getting bigger. Whatever their contribution, be sure to validate student responses and encourage all voices. Next, you will reveal a small amount of information. Ask students, what new information did we just learn? What do you think about the graph now? The process of revising and refining their thinking is an important one for students to learn and be comfortable with. Slow reveal graphs is a great non-threatening way to support this. As you progress through the routine, continue to ask focusing questions. What new information did we just learn? What do you think about the graph now? How many hours of sleep do you think the other circles represent? Again, what information did we just learn? What do you think about the graph now? How many hours of sleep do you think the circle to the right of the 8-hour represents? And why? Continue to ask, what new information did we just learn? What do you think about the graph now? Do you want to revise your predictions? How many hours do you think the circle to the left of the 18 hours represents? What new information did we just learn? What do you think about the graph now? Are you surprised by any of the hours? Why or why not? What new information did we just learn? What do you think about the graph now? What do you think each circle represents? What's the greatest number of hours an animal here sleeps? Least. Again, what new information did we just learn? What do you think about the graph now? What animal do you predict sleeps 15 hours? The most? The least? What new information did we just learn? What do you think about the graph now? Again, what new information did we just learn? And what do you think about the graph now? Continue to encourage students to notice and wonder. Maybe they are noticing the animals are getting bigger as the number of hours asleep decreases. Maybe they wonder where the data is coming from. Ask again, what new information did we just learn? What do you think about the graph now? Do you have any predictions for other animals? Or do you want to revise previous predictions? Again, ask, do you have any predictions for other animals? Or do you want to revise previous predictions? Ask, what new information did we just learn? What do you think about the graph now? Which animal do you think sleeps less than an elephant? Finally, were there any surprises? For this particular slow reveal graph, the information was taken from the book Animal by the Numbers by Steve Jenkins. We will now navigate to the website so you can familiarize yourself with it. You will want to hover over Resources for the Classroom. Here, you can select the type of graph you are interested in using, or you can select Social Justice to choose from a variety of graphical representations that take a more serious and current look at data. Today, I will select Maximum Number of Refugees Allowed. As you scroll, you will notice the source of the data along with additional readings. Scrolling further allows you to see potential math content as well as potential content connections. Scrolling back up, you will also notice that this graph has a version available for Desmos. Simply clicking on Slide Deck allows you to begin the routine. I will present and work through the slide deck now. Notice this one has the purposeful questions on individual slides rather than in the notes. I like the addition of the estimation of data points on this one as well. When looking for a certain graph or math content, you can also simply look on the right side of any page under tags. Implementing slow reveal graphs in person is as simple as selecting a graph and allowing students time and space to engage in mathematical discourse as you slowly reveal more information. There is an opportunity to work with your science teacher, history teacher, or economics teacher for starters with slow reveal graphs because of the content crossover. Maybe they would even incorporate a slow reveal graph into their own class. Utilize the potential content connections to initiate the conversation with teachers of varying content. You could also encourage students to look for graphical displays of data in the media. As a class, strip away the information and display it in the classroom, allowing all of your other classes to notice and wonder about the graphs. Completing a slow reveal graph routine virtually is very possible. First, using small group Zoom meetings would most similarly reflect how we walked through the animal graphs together. You, of course, would want to allow for the conversation. You could utilize Canvas, Google Classroom, or other learning management system features as well. You could reveal more information each day, possibly cutting down on the number of slides to do so, and have students submit ideas and responses in tandem with taking attendance. Another great option is to use Desmos. With Desmos Activity Builder, you are able to create different screens showing the images. Students can both write down their thinking to share and also sketch directly into the image of the graph. There is a feature to allow students to read what 3 of their classmates said. There are a handful of slow reveal graphs already created and ready for use in Desmos. If you are interested in creating your own and would like additional support creating your own slow reveal graph in Desmos, feel free to contact IPS educator and Desmos fellow Ella Harris, whose email is in the notes of this slide deck. The potential math content for the slow reveal graph we engaged in includes ratios, fractions, percentages, circles, and patterns. The potential science content includes animals, habitats, nocturnal animals, health, and sleep. Specific math content will vary with each slow reveal graph. What is consistent is the emphasis on data analysis and statistical understanding, which is important at every level of mathematics, as you can see here. A great resource to help you with planning is the Math Framework. The Math Framework offers a looking back and looking ahead section that shows you the vertical alignment of standards. Utilizing this part of the framework can help you choose tasks that best fit your students' needs and recognize the prior knowledge needed that can be used to build understanding of the grade level target. One could argue that each and every process standard is embedded in the slow reveal graph routine, but there are some standout options. Process standard 1, make sense of problems and persevere to solve them. Mathematically proficient students analyze givens, constraints, relationships, and goals. They continually ask themselves, does this make sense? And is my answer reasonable? Process standard 2, quantitative reasoning entails habits of creating a coherent representation of the problem at hand, considering the units involved, attending to the meaning of quantities, not just how to compute them. And process standard 3, mathematically proficient students understand and use stated assumptions, definitions, and previously established results in constructing arguments. They make conjectures and build a logical progression of statements to explore the truth of their conjectures. They organize their mathematical thinking, justify their conclusions, and respond to the arguments of others. They reason inductively about data, making plausible arguments that take into account the context from which the data arose. Mathematically proficient students are also able to compare the effectiveness of two plausible arguments, distinguish correct logic or reasoning from that which is flawed, and if there is a flaw in an argument, explain what it is. They listen to or read the arguments of others, decide whether they make sense, and ask useful questions to clarify or improve the arguments. Just like the process standards, one could argue all of the NCTM 8 effective teaching practices are embedded within a slow reveal graph routine. To make math achievement a reality for all students, NCTM suggests we need to move from a pocket of excellence to systemic excellence by providing math education that supports the learning of all students at the highest level possible. High quality resources like slow reveal graphs helps educators do just that. The 8 effective teaching practices are a call to action that tasks all stakeholders with the role of recognizing the need for mathematics education that is research-based and data-driven, held together by the belief that developing mathematical understanding and mathematical confidence in our students is the key to the obstacles we face. So why slow reveal graphs? First, Change the Equation, a nonprofit group that works with the business community to improve STEM learning, looked at data from the 2015 National Assessment of Educational Progress and found that while 3/4 of 12th graders attend schools that offer statistics courses, less than 1/4 of the students actually take them. Using slow reveal graphs at the beginning of the year can help build classroom community through content and conversation. Every few years, a large study called the Program for the International Assessment of Adult Competencies is conducted. It examines basic skills of adults around the world, one of which is numeracy. The researchers sit down with approximately 245,000 people across 38 countries for about an hour each and quiz them. They calculate their scores on a scale of 1 to 500, where 500 is a perfect score. These scores are then bucketed into one of 5 levels, where level 1 is least proficient and level 5 is most proficient. The United States ranks number 28 of 38 countries surveyed. The average score for a US adult was 255, putting them solidly in the level 2 range. Only 37% of adults are level 3 or higher. PIACC describes level 3 questions as tasks at this level require the respondent to understand mathematical information that may be less explicit, embedded in contexts that are not always familiar, and represented in more complex ways. Tasks require several steps and may involve the choice of problem-solving strategies and relevant processes. Tasks tend to require the application of number sense and spatial sense, recognizing and working with mathematical relationships, patterns, and proportions expressed in verbal or numerical form, and most importantly, interpretation and basic analysis of data and statistics in tests, tables, and graphs. Finally, in 2020-2021, teachers will have to be particularly mindful about curricular coherence and focus. Teachers will need to build on unfinished learning from last year and prepare for potential interruptions to education this year. With that in mind, it's important to be mindful about selecting tasks, or in this case, graphs, that reinforce the critical areas of the grade. For example, in grade 6, students are to use reasoning about multiplication and division to solve ratio and rate problems about quantities. 7th grade teachers may want to use graphs to help build an understanding of percentages. There are several graphs that focus specifically on making sense of data using rate and ratios. There are tags on the right-hand side of the website on every page to help navigate. Another great why is to build graphical literacy among our students. With the inundation of data displays in the media, students need the skills necessary to analyze them for accuracy or even manipulation. Social media has exploded with truly unfortunate representations of data. The next few graphs are ones that have been recently circulated via news outlets and social media. For each one, I want you to take the time to notice and wonder. What do you notice about this particular graph? Read the title and the description. While the bars seem to be trending down, look at the dates. If students are not taught to be critical, they could easily have been manipulated into thinking something unsupported by the data. My favorite line on Twitter that corresponded to this graph was, "Check on your math friends, we are not okay." Here's another example of a truly unfortunate representation of data. Again, what do you notice? What do you wonder? What is the vertical scale here? Why are the bars not representative of the values written on top of them? There are so many more things to notice and to wonder. What about now? What do you notice now? First, the timeframes are not consistent. Italy is measuring cases from February through June, while the US is March through June. The vertical scale is not consistent either. This leads to misleading and inappropriate visual comparisons. Using slow reveal graphs to develop sense-making about data will help students to consider titles, horizontal scales, vertical scales, and chosen representations when analyzing graphical displays of data. Consider this last graphical display of average female height per country. What do you notice? What do you wonder? There are so many things to say here, but just focus on the vertical scale. This is an altered version of the graph, courtesy of a Twitter user, that shows the ridiculousness of the original graph and scale. This example I took from Sarah Vanderwerf's website, Math Fails, and is linked in the notes section below. Copyright gives exclusive rights to the original work. Any work that is copyrighted is owned by a specific person, and you must gain permission to use the work. Educational fair use is an exception. It provides limitations without seeking permission from the copyright. Teaching falls under educational fair use. In its simplest form, you can use work that is copyrighted as long as it is not for profit or commercial use, is suitably appropriate, the work stays intact, and its intended use will not affect the copyrighted material's value. This does not discount credit. You must still source and give credit where it is due. For example, this flowchart was adapted with permission from Art Class with LMJ. She created an educational fair use flowchart that I wanted to adapt to support math teachers, so I reached out to her and was given permission by her to adapt and use the resource in this way, but I am giving her credit by linking the source on my document. Use the flowchart to figure out what path to take when working from outside sources. Some basic rules of thumb include, if you did not personally create it, assume that it's copyrighted. If your use of the work will result in profit, distribution, or personal gain, you should always get permission first. And if the work is not being used outside a class, you are typically safe, but it's always best to have the original resource cited and available. Thank you so much for joining me today. You can scan the QR code by opening your iPhone camera and holding it up to the screen or another QR reader app. You can also click here on the slide deck to fill out a short survey. Check out the notes on the slide deck for the link to the presentation. My contact information is also available. Feel free to email me or tweet at me anytime. I'd be happy to help. Thank you so much for your time and your dedication to Indiana students.